Year number 2 for Chris Petersen in Seattle. Welcome inside our San Francisco studios. It's Football Weekly, the digital edition. I'm Mike Yam, Yogi Roth, Glenn Parker with you. I think about some of the names from last year's defense for this Huskies team. Thompson, Shelton, Kikaha, Peters, all those guys. They're gone, Yogi. They're going to be playing on Sundays. Get me excited, though, about what's left on that side of the football.
Well, it's not necessarily only what's left, but what's coming up that maybe you don't know about. And right off the bat, you got to be jacked by Elijah Qualls. I mean, he kind of looks like Danny Shelton. He's got the hair, he's playing the nose. But what you love about him is you go back and turn on his high school film. This was a running back, over 700 yards on the ground, 10 touchdowns. I mean, this is a dominant athlete. Yeah, and in the 3-4 scheme, he said he embraces getting double and triple team. And this is a guy who's going to be the point of attack. I think they're exciting. And then, of course, you got to look at the back end. They return a lot of star players. Buda Baker, one of the top prospects in the country a couple years ago. Obviously, we could see his athleticism all season long. He's been playing a little bit of offense in spring practice as well. And then, of course, Kevin King will be coming back from an injury. And then I love a corner. They have Sidney Jones. So they've got some young players in this secondary that's going to allow them to, of course, they'll feel the miss of all the guys that left, but I think the secondary is going to be athletic enough to compete in the Pac-12.
When I look at the offense, I'm going to be doing this game, and I'm really a little worried about some things. First off, they finally got that offense on track towards the end of the season. They were finally kind of rolling. Well, quarterback Sutter Miles is not there, so they're going to have to find a quarterback. Is it going to be Browning? Is it going to be Carter Samuels? And they're going to be working on an offensive line that is up for grabs. So what went from a unit that was coming along, or a side of the ball that was coming along, all of a sudden there's huge question marks right down the middle of your offense. That's not good going into a spring. Hopefully they get this thing worked out. Hopefully they found some positions so that they'll have a cohesive offensive line, and they'll at least have identified a starting quarterback going into the fall.
Fair to describe it as an adjustment year in year number 1, and now in year number 2, a rebuilding year? Is that fair?
I think you can say this. It's an adjustment year 1, certainly, because you're in a new conference, you've got new personnel. It's almost more like an identifying year. He's got to identify his talent. He's got to figure out who he has that fits within what he does. He's not grandfathered in anymore. So rebuilding, I don't know. You choose the term you like, go for it.
Well, I think the good thing is the North, it's not as loaded as the South. They're going to have the opportunity to play well in the North this year and be able to compete for that championship, or at least in the upper echelon of the teams.
Our first look at the adjustment, transition, rebuilding, reloading year comes on Saturday. Just try to throw in a couple of those as quickly as I can. New Pacific here on the Pac-12 Networks, Pac-12 Now app, and for everything that's happening around the conference, all you have to do, follow us on Twitter, @Pac-12 Networks, and yes, it is plural.